Welcome back. My name is Keto Combat, and we're doing another Tales from the Pharmacy. Thanks again last week for all the well wishes and welcome back messages. It was really nice seeing you guys all again. People will just lie about anything at all. Phone rings. I answer it. It's a lady asking to get a prescription filled. Nothing comes up when I search, but I find a profile from another state, so I ask her if she needs a prescription from another state transferred to us. She says yeah. Okay, which medication did you need transferred? Azdaton. I start scrolling through the profile, looking for anything at all that sounds like what she's saying. Can you spell it? Oh, ondansetron? Oh, I don't see that on your profile. I have the medical record right here. What more do you need? A medical record? Oh, do you have a paper prescription you need filled? You have to bring that in before we can fill it. Yes, it's a paper prescription. Well, that's a lie. I've never had a problem before, but whatever. Oh, okay. All right, bye. I mean, really, that's not legal anywhere. Oh, okay, well, I've got a couple of things to say about that. How many times do you hear a customer say, well, this other pharmacy down the road, well, they do that for me all the time. Oh, well, they break the law for you? Let me do that for you. Yeah, that's no problem. Like, I understand that there are some pharmacies that kind of bend the law for some people, and we all know who those pharmacies are. We all have them around us, but it doesn't mean that we're going to break the law for you, unless we accidentally break the law for them. I may have told this story before, but for those of you that haven't heard this story, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of it. One day, the pharmacist is taking in a phone-in prescription, and it's like, okay, what's the medication? Okay, who's the patient? Who's the patient? And the patient says, oh, it's for me. It's like, the pharmacist is like, oh, you can't call in your prescription. You gotta bring that in. And then she says, well, I've been doing it for the past year. Come to find out that, yes, on her profile, she has all these telephoned-in prescriptions, and come to find out that she's been given paper copies this whole time and was phoning in her prescriptions. Yeah. Whoops. First time banning customers from my store. As the title says, today was the first time I've ever had to ban a customer from my store. Customer and her daughter rolled up through the drive-thru, and our point-of-sale system was temporarily down. Only lasted a few minutes. My technician told them that it was down and it would be just that, just a few minutes. They got angry and demanded to speak to me, the pharmacist, even though my tech told them that there was nothing I could do to fix it and they'd just have to wait or come back. They continued to be rude at her and called her an idiot. At this point, I came over and told them, hey, they cannot insult my staff and that their systems were down. Of course, they didn't take this well and began screaming and cursing at me through the drive-thru. I told them not to curse at me and I would help them once they stopped. They drove off and I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. They then walked into the pharmacy and came up to the register. They called me a nasty bitch and that I should go drown myself in a river. At this point, I told them that they cannot continue to disrespect my staff and from now on they need to go fill their prescriptions elsewhere. I was kind enough to sell them the prescriptions that they were currently waiting and told them that they were no longer welcome at my store. They continued to harass me and threatened to call the board of pharmacy on me, which I replied, yeah, go right ahead. I finally got them to leave after a few more insults, and they continued to go complain to the store manager. But hey, I didn't have to call the police, so I guess it could have been worse. There's a myth that the customer is always right. And it's a myth because it's not true. The customer more often than not is wrong and is being a jerk face, and they shouldn't be treated with any respect, and they should be told that they can't shop here anymore. But a lot of retail managers have been told, hey, just do what you can to please the customer, throw a bunch of gift cards at them, and, they'll come back and shop with us again. And all that does is just reinforce negativity, reinforce people to be jerks with retail staff, because the next time that happens, you know what? They're going to get a free gift card again. I know that we had some problematic customers at the pharmacies that I worked at, but you know what happened? We told them to leave. We transferred the prescriptions out. They contacted our higher-ups in our district office, and we had to apologize to them and give them gift cards. It sucks, but that's the reality of working retail, is that customers have been trained to treat you like crap, and they get rewarded for it. Anyway, I digress. Pharmacist for 29 years, age 51, and I'm hanging up my hat. Here's why and what I plan to do. I'm being purposely vague because the company that fired me monitors social media, but yeah, I got fired. And why? Well, without any proper training, we had that virus word that I can't say on YouTube. Vaccines dumped on us the week of Christmas. We received 100 doses that week and 100 doses the next week, the week of New Year's. It was a crap show. The phones blew up because we were the only chain in a large region of a very large state to get vaccines. My staff was overwhelmed. We did not get any vaccines after the first 200 doses, nor have we to this day. Then, 4 weeks later, we had to revax our initial 200 patients. One of my best technicians screwed up and booked 13 people for early revax on day 23 and not day 24, as stated by Moderna as the earliest date. I caught the error after 2 people had been revaxed. The first 2 people had their cards filled out by my techs, but the third person did not. I caught the error on the card that I personally filled out. I halted the rest of them and contacted corporate. I had to fill a lot of paperwork, which led to me getting fired 2 days later. Being over 50 and unemployed sucks, but it has opened my eyes to the fact that, quite frankly, our industry sucks. So I'm leaving it entirely. I have a substantial reserve fund that I'll tap into, and over the past 10 years I bought some commercial real estate, so I've decided to double down and open up a short order breakfast diner next to a Starbucks. If all goes well, I'll expand and offer lunch. But seriously, is that what our industry has come to? I'd like to hear your thoughts and or different opinions on this. There were a ton of times when corporate threw stuff at us and expected us to learn on the fly. I know I've talked about this before on the channel, so I'll just talk about this briefly. When my last year that I worked in pharmacy here in the state of Utah, they were trying to fight opioid abuse. So we had people making up rules every week. Like we would come in one week and the rules would be different from the previous week. Both of the pharmacists that we have on staff would not be in communication with each other. So one pharmacist would say, no, we have to do it this way. The other pharmacist would say that we'd have to do it that way, because they don't want to pay for overlap time and training time for any of us. They want us to be able to operate as cheaply as possible, but then our patients suffer because that patient that came in on week 1 was told, here's what we do, and then when they need their opioid or whatever refilled the next month and it's different, they're like, what the heck, last month you told us this, and now we have to say, oh well, yeah, that was last month, but now this month we're doing it differently. It just turned into a nightmare. I could only imagine what these vaccines are doing to the pharmacies with no training. Yeah, I'm sure it's a crap show. It's funny. I know I've also mentioned this once before on the channel, but for those of you that don't know, I learned to be a tech on the fly. I was working at a photo department at a drugstore and mentioned to the pharmacist, like, yeah, I'd like to be trained as a tech. That seems like something I'd be interested in. They're like, okay, cool. I said, okay, that's great. I'm going to go to Vegas, going to go on vacation for a few days. I go and I come back for my shift and they're like, what are you doing? You're in the pharmacy today. I'm like, what? Yeah, you're in the pharmacy. You're scheduled in 30 minutes. Better go home. Here's your uniform. And I'm like, okay. So I go to the bathroom, go change into tech smock and scrubs and stuff like that. And I go back into the pharmacy and the pharmacist opens up the window and there's someone with a prescription there. And I'm just standing there like, what? And I look at the pharmacist. I'm like, he has a prescription? And the pharmacist is like, well, take the prescription, scan it in. I'm like, what? Oh, let me do it. And I'm just sitting there back there, and I just whispered to him, this is, you do know that this is my first day. I don't have any training. He's like, yeah, I know. Like, you know this, and you're expecting me to be able to help you today? Like, I don't understand. They literally threw me back there. I had no idea what medications were, what they did, any interactions. Didn't even know how to work the point of sale system back there. It was a complete nightmare, and I had to do that once a week, every week, for 2 months until I finally got enough hours, or it was like 3 months, whatever. Finally got enough hours, and I'm like, oh my goodness, thank goodness I don't ever have to do this again. And then the store manager said, hey, they'd like to offer you a job. I'm like, ah, crap. All right, put me in the pharmacy, I guess. Thank you again for coming and watching my fantastic pharmacy video. Is that what we're doing? We made a pharmacy video. All right. What? I can stop this and go back and delete that and re-record that? Nuts to that. Nothing but professionalism here. Woo! Anyway. It was kind of nice coming back in and just doing a video like after a week. Just kind of relaxing. No pressure. Easing into it like an old man getting into a hot tub of water. That's a visual no one needed. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, why? Subscribe if you like it. Thumbs up, share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, later kids.